felt so freeing. It was almost the feeling of like when I was skydiving and seeing everything just sort of flowing past me. I remember sitting in the car because I was going to the neurologist with Mum, and I'd been passed from neurologist to I went from the GP because my eye didn't work, went from there to an optometrist, to an eye specialist, to another eye specialist at the hospital, to a neurologist. It was just the most horrific experience. Going to the neurologist, getting that confirmation that, yeah, we think you do have MS. Going into the car, leaving the neurologist, and Mum sitting there, freaking out, just going, it's going to be all right, Brie. It's going to be all right. I'm just like, shit. It's just the fear of, they don't know how you get it, why you've got it, what's going to happen to you when you do get it. I went into denial, which is the first stage of grief. I couldn't be a regular teenager and just go out and get drunk, then come home and party and all that stuff. Because my body, it was different. But I kind of feel like a parent's got me by the straps from the back and I'm trying as hard as I can to move, but my body won't let me. Like someone just let go so I can move again. And then it just felt like the more I ran away from it, the more that seemed to pile on top. And I was having a really hard time with the person I was living with at the same time. They were becoming an alcoholic, so the amount of stress and damage that was on me as well, just all compiled on top of my shoulders, and it's a lot for a 19-year-old to deal with. I hid from it for a good decade until I couldn't hide my symptoms anymore. Well, it was at least half a decade when Lachlan knew me coming to their open mics, and I was diagnosed, but I could hide it really well. I didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, I was just out playing music and I happened to see Brie playing some folk music. I thought she was pretty good, so I thought, well, I should tell her that her song, I like one of her songs, so I thought I should go up and tell her that it was a good song. So I went up, it was at the Bowen Heads Hotel, and I went up onto the bar and she was getting a drink. I said, oh, that was a nice song you played. And she's going, yeah, thanks. Was that you playing before? Yeah. She thought I was a bit of a squid, so.
Hey, I really like that song you played. How about you come over to my house and record it? I've got some recording gear at home.
Like I knew Brie had MS when I first met her. It wasn't as bad as it is now. I wasn't looking at Brie as the disability she had. I remember when I first went out with Brie, one of the music guys, which is what we were doing at the time, said, I reckon it's amazing that you're going out with somebody that's got MS. I wouldn't do that. Like, they didn't make it that rude, but it was pretty much along the lines of, You know, not many people would be doing what you're doing, going out with somebody that you know has got MS. And, you know, because we'd just met, I wasn't thinking of it like that. So, yeah, things are a lot harder than they were when I first met her. But I was never thinking about that. It was just more of the way we got along and so on. So,
Lachlan has just been the best thing that's ever happened in my life. Because we're just like, we're like peas and carrots.
the biggest thing is that she's my best mate, and you've been the biggest support ever. This town here there's some good waves around here, and a lot of people surf, so a lot of my friends did, so I got into it through that. And I just remember the day that I went out into the surf for the first time. It was just like, it's really hard to explain. It's like another world.
I always loved collecting the magazines and loved the beach when I was growing up. He said to me, first time you go on a board with me, guaranteed 3 seconds you'll stand up. It took him a decade to get me up and in the water. We got a little bit busy with getting married and having babies. It's like, this is something I used to love doing that I haven't been able to do for such a long time. And I trust Lachlan with my life, I always have. I actually was laughing at an Instagram video that I came across because it said, one of the beginner mistakes that they do is they try to pop up too quickly. It's like, that's what my problem was. Trying to get up. And then the first time Lachlan ever got me on a board, I tried to do the same thing and we both went, and he said, look, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but wait for me to tell you to stand up. I will be being propelled by a wave, and then I really want my body to do what I want it to, but I can't even get to my knees sometimes, and it's just like, oh, these dead weights are just pissing me right off.
I felt like I'd be able to pick her up, and sure enough. But it's pretty difficult because you hit chops and she might go that way, and I've got to compensate for all that, and it's, yeah, and not all the time the conditions are good. Sometimes it's rough, and I'm tough on her too. Just 2 weeks ago I took her for her first surf on her own, out a bit further in the water and not just on the shore, and we had horrible conditions. This current rushing this way. I couldn't stand because I was getting swept by it. Trying to get her on the board was rocking.
Bree, why can't you stay in the middle? I am staying in the middle. I want to go home.
It was a nightmare. She kept falling off. I kept going, Bree, just get back on board. I've got to get at least you catch a wave on your own. That's our goal, was for her to paddle and catch a wave on her own. Just kept falling off. I kept yelling at her, going, get on the board. And she starts crying and yelling at me, just going, you're not making this fun anymore. And I just look back at her and say, get on the board. And that's being harsh, and that's part of what we do. You can see the determination she's got, so that carries right through her tough times at home, and the kids feed off it. They're really resilient. It's good. She's amazing. She's like in so much pain a lot of the time, and I don't know how she puts up with the pain that she gets in. I know what it's like because she explains the amount that's in it, and I'll see it all the time, but she's just puts up with it, and she doesn't get angry, and she doesn't affect our family. I mean, a lot of families that split up with that sort of tension have got that way. And it wasn't just surfing. We've been to some waterfalls in the Otways that even your best well-abled person would struggle to get to.
A lot of things that are done behind the scenes that no one knows about. I get up, I go and put my feet in the chi machine, which swings my legs from side to side, do my arm weights, do the sit-ups on the door for 20 minutes. We're in Point Lonsdale Board Riders and they're so supportive. I love them, and the fact that Lachlan's grown up in Point Lonsdale Board Riders and has always done comps and stuff, and it's like, oh, I really want to be in a comp one day.
All the people in the Board Riders are the same. They see her as just another one of us, so very inclusive. So it's been a real thrill to get back into surfing and join my old club and have all the support from them.
There's no feeling like it. You're just standing up, and I'm disabled. So standing up, looking at the water rushing past you and pushing you along this board, it just feels so good. Being older, you realise that there's always something to learn. And I love the fact that there's always something to learn and do and experience. I was one of those pain in the bum 19-year-olds that I wanted to do everything myself. I was so independent, which this has all been such a big learning curve because I've had to rely on Lachlan for a lot of stuff. If you're scared to do something, do it anyway. That's usually what I go by. If there's something I'm afraid of, I jump in head first just to say that I've done it, just to conquer that fear. Because normally, it's not as scary as what you would have thought. And just keep going. It's always about moving forward. Don't get stuck in that wallowing. Because you're not doing anything by doing it. You have to feel it, let it all go, let it all out. Then you pick yourself up, dust yourself off. What's next?